of the stalls, mingling with the pungent odor of the day's catch spread out in the fish market. Donkeys plodded patiently up the narrow streets, laden with baskets of shells strapped on each side, on their way to the dye-makers. Sheep bleated loudly as they were herded into pens, awaiting buyers for the temple sacrifices. In cages along the Street of the Doves, there was cooing and the fluttering of wings. Mary looked around excitedly. With Eliab next to them, she could happily take in the sights and smells all around her without fear. She glanced back at the huge man following them and murmured to herself, "I am glad Eliab is with us." Mary's mind churned with questions she had wanted so much to ask the last few days before her father set sail with the ship. Why the unexplained looks that passed between her parents, and why had her normally cheerful mother gone about her work so quietly? Her father, who enjoyed time with his family, appeared distracted and spent long hours at the boat-building yard. Fear tugged at her heart. A nagging disquiet followed her like a shadow. Uncle Zira had come the evening before the ship sailed. A gaunt man with a short black beard, he stalked into the house as if loath to be there. When her father was watching, Zira was the benevolent uncle, smiling indulgently at his niece, but his smile never reached his eyes. Mary knew her uncle was not what he seemed. She was courteous to him, respectful as all children were taught to be, but stayed out of his way. That night Zira glowered at his brother and was barely civil to Rachel. "Zira, we are brothers," Jared began as they ate. "We have the finest boat-building yard in Magdalene. We must work together. It was necessary to cut costs," Zira murmured, aware of Rachel and Mary nearby. "You don't appreciate that I can increase our profits." Her father leaned forward. "At the cost of our good reputation, brother?" Zira started to answer, then with an imperceptible nod of his head toward Rachel, looked pointedly at his brother. Jared followed his gaze and stroked his beard. "Perhaps the garden?" Both men rose and strode outside, her father leading the way. Her uncle's face was pinched and hard. Mary helped her mother put things away and then went up to her bed, but couldn't sleep. Voices outside in the garden drew her to the window. Her father and uncle shared an animated conversation, speaking in fierce whispers. She couldn't understand most of their words, but caught snatches of the conversation. It seemed to have to do with the new merchant vessel. "Change your ways, Zira," Jared admonished, and turned abruptly to return to the house. Zira looked after him, then started for the courtyard gate. Suddenly he paused and looked up to Mary's window. His eyes narrowed when he saw her, and his face clouded with anger. The next morning, as Mary helped her mother prepare the bread dough, her thoughts tumbled into a question. "Mama, are Abba and Uncle Zira angry with each other?" Her mother slid the paddle with one of the loaves of bread into the clay oven and turned to her. "What made you ask that?" Mary hung her head. "Last night they were arguing in the garden outside my window about the new ship. Abba was very angry." She told her mother what she'd seen and what little she'd heard. "They had a disagreement about something, a problem at the shipyard. There is no need to trouble yourself about it." Mary lifted her face. "I thought you and Abba were angry with each other. We hardly see him anymore. I was afraid." Her mother turned and drew Mary to her. "There is no trouble between your father and me, just a problem at the shipyard that concerns him." Mary leaned into her mother's side, relief lightening the burden she had carried. She sent a quick prayer to Hashem, the God who sees.